Okay, I just got out of the theater from Thunderbolts. It's good. Oh, I know half the reviews are like, Marvel's back. Marvel's so back. There was a decrease in quality. And the reviews that said Marvel's back, they're right. This movie is good. The two Marvel movies it reminded me the most of were the first Avengers movie, which is a classic. I'm not sure what I would put as the other one, but I would probably say Civil War. Florence Pugh is fantastic. Lewis Pullman, Bob. I can't say anything about him, but Bob. I have a feeling right now that I haven't had after seeing a Marvel movie in a long time. I'm like buzzing with excitement for what comes next, but also so appreciative of what I just saw. Welcome to my Thunderbolts review. So you're probably seeing this movie get a lot of positive praise and positive remarks online. So what makes Thunderbolts? What makes this movie good? And I think everyone who sees it can agree that the thing that really makes it stand out at the end of the day is the characters. Well, yes. And that is so exciting because that's something that has suffered so deeply in a lot of the worst Marvel movies and shows. Yelena by Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh is so good as Yelena, and the movie's centered around her. I think most people are excited to go into a movie knowing that Florence Pugh is the lead. And if you're not, at least give this a chance because Yelena's not like any of the other characters I've seen her play in other movies. She brings such life to the character. She's funny, but she also has a lot of serious moments and she feels like a real person. When I'm having my worst days, I guarantee you there's still a moment where I think something's funny or I think this. And that makes it really realistic to what real life is and the real life issues that the movie dives into. Bob. Bob, played by Lewis Pullman. Bob is the best new character to be introduced into the Marvel Universe for years. He is funny. I laughed out loud 3 times. Oh, 4 times. One of them was at something he said, and another one of them was at something he said. Like Florence Pugh, he also has a lot of the serious scenes. It was just so exciting to see him, see his powers. Valentina, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who is the funniest actress alive. I genuinely think she's probably the funniest comedian ever. And she brings such a different type of villain to this movie that is so fun to watch because all of the Marvel movies that have these type of villains end up usually being the best ones. Winter Soldier, Civil War, these political, just kind of government official type villains, and she plays it so well. One of the times I laughed out loud was her, of course. I really believed that she was 2 steps ahead of them the whole time and that she was actually a threat for all of these assassins and super soldiers. Bucky, the Winter Soldier. This is a great character. Now, he's not in this movie as much as everyone else, but people who are saying he's not in it at all, or they're lying in the marketing saying he's not in it, that's not true. He's in the whole movie. The journey that all these characters are on is they're outcasts. They're still finding their redemption and finding their way as heroes, where Bucky already is that. Like Bucky has been in the Marvel Universe since Phase 1, and so it was really refreshing to see Bucky get to be an example for where all these characters can go. He's the final point for these characters. They're like, oh, I can be redeemed. Oh, I can be a hero. Now, the rest of the team, Red Guardian, hilarious. David Harbour is always hilarious. He's a great actor. And, he helps them make this movie and makes Yelena's story be so powerful. He's probably my least favorite member of the team, but I still really love him. He was really funny. He has some great moments. John Walker, talk about leveling up. John Walker was so sympathetic in this movie in a way that he was not in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's also so funny, underrated, probably one of the funniest parts of this team in this movie. And Ghost is so fun. She brings a much needed power set. I literally never thought they would bring this character back, which was sad because I liked her in Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yelena says in the movie, so we all just point and shoot. Yeah, they do all just point and shoot. So I needed someone like her with cool powers to be like, phasing around and whatnot. Taskmaster. I love Taskmaster's new suit. Do I still think the character is good? No. But I liked how she was used here. You might not have seen all the reviews, and reviewers mention this character, but Val's assistant Mel is so good. In the comics, there's a character named Songbird, whose name is Melissa, on the Thunderbolts team. I hope they're making Mel into Songbird in a future sequel. She was one of the people in this movie that felt the most like a real person. I believed why she worked for Val. I believe why she does all the stuff she does in the movie. She really stood out to me. So I hope they bring that character back. The character dynamic in this movie is so important. The found family vibes and the balance of the weight and the humor of the story are so vital to how it's succeeding right now and how the general public is responding to it. That's a problem that a lot of Marvel movies have had, is they've injected humor into the serious moments for no reason. We can let serious moments breathe, and it makes the funny moments more funny when we do that. And the last thing that I think makes this movie is that they leveled these characters up. So many of these characters come from Disney Plus or come from movies that weren't as well received, and this movie makes them all feel important. What should Marvel learn from Thunderbolts? Well, like I said, the Marvel movies are key to leveling these characters up. I do not think they should be introducing characters in Marvel TV shows without a plan to put them in a movie. And in fact, I think the shows work better when they take a character from a movie and then put them in a show. That's why one of the reasons this movie works so well is because while it is basically completely B tier characters besides Bucky, they all come together and make something bigger and more beautiful, which leads into my second point: teams. Team movies are so important in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and there are characters that don't do as well outside of a team setting. Even the best solo movies in the Marvel Universe were teams. Captain America the Winter Soldier, you had Steve, Natasha, and Sam fighting Bucky, and it worked so well because those three were a team. It doesn't have to be these like Thunderbolts, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy type movies always, where it is a huge team of people coming together. But every movie has to have a little bit of a team dynamic to have the necessary character interaction, and for all the characters that are on the big Marvel chessboard to get enough development, they need to appear in other movies and have dynamics. It is so important to the success of Marvel going forward. I really hope they learn that lesson from this movie. Themes. The themes in this movie are the reason it's resonating so deeply with people. This movie tackles themes of mental health and depression in a really real way without being cheesy or corny about it. That is so refreshing to see because not all the Marvel projects tackle themes, and sometimes when they do, it doesn't suit the story they're telling. These themes were perfect for the story of Thunderbolts, perfect for what these characters are going through, and it made it so the audience can actually relate to it and actually feel empathy for what these characters are going through. When you can elicit that type of response from your audience, you should go there as long as it suits your story, which in this movie it did. Which leads me into my final point here, is that they need to cultivate stories that have an earned payoff. Thunderbolts answers so many questions from Phase 4 and even earlier in the MCU, like what happened to Avengers Tower and more, where there's been so many loose ends in Phase 4 that aren't getting answered for so long, and it feels like they've forgotten about them. This movie showed me that they haven't forgotten about them, but what they need to do is they need to start paying them off, and they can pay off a bunch in one movie, which is what Thunderbolts showed. And that type of gratification is good for keeping viewers when you're in a cinematic universe like the Marvel universe that has 36 movies. You have to keep them connected and you have to keep people coming to the theaters to see more. The one thing I hope Marvel takes away from this movie that is slightly from one of the negatives of the movie is that they need to explore the interesting elements of their story more. So if you haven't seen the movie or you don't want spoilers, click off right now, come back and find me. But what hurts Thunderbolts just a little bit is that they set up so many really interesting elements and they don't explore them much. And so, what I'm talking about, since we can talk about spoilers now, Sentry. He's only in it for one scene, and that's okay because the scene is amazing. And this movie didn't really need more. They didn't set up a team of characters that was supposed to take down Sentry. They set up a team of characters that's supposed to be on a team with him. So it makes sense, but he was so cool that it kind of left me wanting more. And I wanted a little bit more of the void too. When they touch Bob or when they get put into the void, they see their worst nightmares, they see hard memories from their past that are related to that depression and that anguish and that hopelessness. We see one for John Walker, one for Val, and then a bunch for Yelena. They should have shown one for at least every character. We've had much longer Marvel movies, and this movie is good enough that I feel that they earned the right to have extra time to explore that. I would have loved to see one for Bucky. What did Bucky see when he went into the void? He has such a complex history. I would have loved to see what he saw. Ghost too. Ghost has a crazy backstory. What did she see when she went into the void? And that would have been a great way to further dive deep into her character, which is just another little nitpick I have about the movie, is that Ghost and Bucky specifically don't get much development from this story. And even John Walker, a little bit, is the same case as Bucky and Ghost. All these characters have great stuff to do in this movie. I'm so glad they're here. They make the movie great. But they could have been developed a little bit more if we would have just added like 15 minutes onto the runtime. This isn't something I've seen anyone else say, but I thought this movie was lacking just a little bit from iconic imagery. Their suits weren't the best they could be. Giving these characters really cool suits for this movie would have been really huge for it. At Halloween this year, you ain't gonna be seeing nobody in some of these costumes. And that's crazy because there used to be a time where when a huge superhero movie like this came out, everyone was dressed up like them for Halloween. And I know the Fantastic Four and Superman come out this year, so those will probably be bigger anyways because they're more popular characters. But they could have used from cooler suits, cooler design, and cooler shots. I don't feel like there was necessarily one really amazing team shot of this team in this movie, like that shot from the first Avengers where the camera spun around all six of them when they like huddled up together. There were a few moments where they kind of tried to do it, but it wasn't quite the same. I think the ending was perfect. I wouldn't have changed it. I would have just added more action in the void before they left it. I think what would have been really cool personally was if Bob re-became Sentry in the Void, and then the Thunderbolts with Sentry, Bob as Sentry, fought the Void in an action sequence in the Void, and then it could have still ended the same with the Void restraining them all and Bob having to face him, and then Yelena breaking free, hugging him, pulling him out of that darkness. Other than that, it was great. What I'd really love to see in a sequel is Zemo to come back because he's on the team in the comics. My number one want is I want Mel to become Songbird. That character is so important to the team in the comics, and I think it would be a really cool opportunity for a power set we don't really have in the MCU. I personally would want them to keep her Sonic Scream more than her like Green Lantern type powers, or at least wait to give her that second set of powers. And we want to take Zemo and her and put some more of these comic accurate characters on the team. Obviously, Val will be involved whenever they make a sequel to this. I would love for her to have a little more action. I know that Julia Louis Dreyfus is a little bit older than a lot of these actors and actresses, but she's still like young enough to do action scenes, and they could do stunt doubles, especially since we see a flashback for her in this movie. She definitely can fight. Sharon Carter, Agent 13, is on the team in the comics right now. I think this would be a great way to bring Sharon back as the power broker, add some legitimacy to that storyline from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So those are my thoughts that I would love for a second sequel to this. Overall, Thunderbolts was a great movie, like I said. It's a 5 out of 5 for me. 10 out of 10, 5 stars. I love this movie. It's exactly what I want from superhero movies and what I want from Marvel specifically. I love the themes it explores. I love the way it sets up these characters to do more. The post-credit scene was amazing. I'm just super excited to see what Marvel does going forward, and I'm happy to be back. Movie reviews are something I want to consistently do on this channel, so expect more of these going forward and more of this type of content because it's what I like to consume and I love watching movies, so it's something I'd like to produce. Some movies we've got coming out this summer that I'd be interested in reviewing are How to Train Your Dragon, Lilo and Stitch, Superman, Fantastic Four, Jurassic World, and so many more. If you guys like this video, drop a physical like, comment, do whatever. Thanks for watching. See you next time.